Hello and welcome to episode 11 of the Inner Miami Show. My name is Brandon Griffin, and joined as always, I'm here with Mike Loverboy Longan. How are you today, my man?
I'm rocking the heartbeat kit for Valentine's Day. I am excited
like
that
it.
some people are going to come watch us on Valentine's Day. Either they are single and couldn't find a date, or they're very married and their spouses didn't care, which is kind of more like how you and I are. But I think we got a lot to talk about tonight. I don't think we're even going to really touch on the game tomorrow, but I think there's a lot of stuff that that we got to talk about tonight.
Yeah, I think we'll touch on the game a little bit just because we need to. But yeah, I agree. We probably aren't going to. Oh, we are, aren't we? Nice one, Mike. I don't know how we fix that. Let's see. There we go.
There we go.
Oh, love it. I didn't even know we could do that. So anyway, yeah. So leading off the show, we have some exciting news. Show news. It's not exciting for Inter Miami.
I think it's
Mike
exciting for Inter Miami. The club should be proud of us.
They should be. We're doing great. We hit 90 subscribers today on YouTube, which is awesome. Chat's already bumping off, so that's great. But Mike and I will be on the Soccer Brummy show with the host Anthony there. Great little show on Instagram Live. We'll be on there, this weekend. So hop on there. If you're not following Mike and I, please do so, because as soon as we go live, you'll get the notifications, and we're really excited about this. This is a podcast based out of Birmingham in the UK, and this guy Anthony's just passionate about North American soccer. So it's like the opposite of us. We're passionate about EPL sometimes, and he's passionate about North American soccer. Doesn't just cover MLS, covers the Canadian Premier League and stuff as well. So we'll be talking our season opener with him, and really excited to get on there and talk with him.
Yeah, I realize we don't have it on here. It's going to be 3:30 on Sunday. Funny story. England is 5 hours ahead of us, not 6. So when we did all the scheduling, I was off by an hour because I thought it was 6. I am going to be doing it from the parking lot of my son's game. But no, super excited. I think it's going to be exciting to just kind of talk about it. Bring in that English feel to MLS. So, so often MLS is so we're here, it's so disrespected internationally, and here is an English club that it's not like it's an Argentinian club that's like, oh, Messi. It's an English guy who wants to talk more MLS. He talked to the RSL guys, I think, this past weekend, or I think he's talking to them Saturday, and so then he's going to talk to us. So super excited. I think it's going to be an interesting conversation. I'm looking forward to his questions because I think they're just going to have a completely different spin.
Yeah, and he's just getting started, thinking about making the transition to YouTube. So if you guys join us, listen, if you like what you hear, give the guy some support, follow him, give him a subscribe, and just hear a different perspective, like an outsider's perspective, not just on our team. It'll be on the league as a whole. So again, we're really excited for that coming up this Sunday. Ooh, Joe, firing shots already. I love it.
It's not that we don't care what they say. We just, if they say something we don't like, we're just going to stop paying our taxes. So it works out.
Exactly. And then we're just going to throw the New England Revolution's kit in the Boston Harbor.
Have you seen the Boston Tea Party? I haven't seen it yet. I know that they've said that
they have these polka dots on it, like in lines, and they're like, oh, it's the splash that the chest made when they hit the thing. It has nothing to do with like tea. I thought it was going to have like this, like when you put a tea bag in water and you see like the
ripples.
That pattern.
You want to see some tea bagging is what you want to see.
Hey, it is.
By the way,
Wednesday
has to be said so far. You can say all you want bad about Inter Miami's kit. Nashville's kit, what can only be called the Charlie Brown kit, so far is the worst kit.
That's Columbus.
Columbus? Okay, sorry, I thought it was Nashville. Yeah. Columbus's kit so far, worst kit of 2024. Like, they clearly ripped off Charlie Brown. Not a compliment.
No. Good job.
We're gonna do a kit. We have to do a kit review.
I think that'll be part of our next episode. We'll do a quick season preview as well as preview our home opener against RSL. Columbus kit is great. Whoa!
Wow,
That's
Varied
a
opinions today.
So, speaking of bad takes and fire starting, your very own Mike Longan started a fire this week on Twitter.
Yeah, I upset some
And
people.
somehow we got into, we had a conversation with Danny over at Battered Herons, and we were I shouldn't say we. Mike and Danny were texting back and forth about somehow or another this evolved into a conversation about winning culture. And so if you listen to Herons, they mentioned Mike on the show, and I think we're spot on in calling him out for the take. But
Ooh. All right, so I got a lot to say here.
well,
So
you
we're
know
gonna,
how
we're gonna
I
pull the
feel about this. So
soapbox out. First off, Mike V, not allowed to comment for the next 5 minutes because he took some shots at me as he was watching Batter Herons as well, because I watched and saw those comments come up. So Mike V, know that I saw
I
that.
did too. I loved it.
Hurt my feelings. A couple things I want to say. So for those listening, Michelle Kaufman was part of a interview in 442. It was a great article. It was really well researched. But one thing she said in it was that where'd you go? So basically saying that you can't be a quaint little team and have Messi, and that all fans are happy that Messi's here. And what I said was basically love and respect Kaufman. I think her statements that all fans want Messi is not valid. There's a growing minority of the fan base that is expressing that building a winning team / culture is what they want. And so far, the Messi experiment is not producing that. And so a couple things. First off, this went in a really weird direction. So if you look at the comments on the post, there was quite a few people who said they're not happy with this, that we're not having the winning expectations. Season ticket prices have gone up, that there is this minority that's not silent. To be fair, IMCF Traveler and now Battery Traveler is probably the loudest of this group, but they're clearly there. So I think there's validation in it. But then we got into this weird tangent about what a winning culture was. And I got into some back and forth as part about whether we have a winning culture or not. And so, Brant, I know you and I have discussed it. Let me start out with kind of my concepts. I didn't say winning culture.
I'm timing
I said,
you because for those, just to give you a little insight, Mike basically screamed at me through text messages for like 3 hours about a winning culture. So he'll actually get to hear my take on this live, because I don't think I was able to get a text in.
I think you did. So first of all, I never said winning culture in there. I said a winning team or culture. Like that's what the fan base is looking for. And right now we're not getting either, right? We haven't won a match since September, whether it's preseason or regular season. Culture is questionable. I think you can make some interesting arguments that when you look at pictures of Alba with his arm over Noah, or who was it? Was it Ruiz with Suarez? Like we're starting to see culture. But then I got into this weird argument about that we have a winning culture. And all I can think about, and Brandon, you and I talked about this. I don't know how many people here saw Miracle. And the movie Miracle, great movie about the 1980 Olympic hockey team. I feel like if you're a European sports lover, you actually might enjoy hockey. There's a scene in a preseason match where the team, instead of watching the game on the ice, was watching the girls. And the coach went nuts and made them basically do laps until they puked their guts out. And to me, that was a winning culture. That was a culture I don't care if it's preseason or regular season, winning is winning. That's all we care about. And so if you want to say, does Miami have a winning culture, where winning defines what we do? No way in hell do we have that. You can't look at a preseason match where Messi's not taking the penalty kicks, laughing, pointing in the crowd, and say he is putting winning first. Now, is that a bad thing? I think that's an interesting argument. I know, Branson, you're probably going to comment that winning culture isn't the best thing in the world. I don't deny that. But there was a lot of people, Danny and some others, who were saying that we have a winning culture. If we're not winning and the team doesn't seem to care about winning, I don't think you can argue we have a winning culture. We are developing a culture. I will take my original tweet back a little bit and say, yes, we're starting to see a culture. But anyone who's going to say we're having a winning culture when we don't seem to care about winning is lying to themselves. So Brant, I'll let you speak.
Okay.
But I'm just saying that we do not have what you could claim as be a winning culture.
So my take on winning culture is that is a term used in corporate America to try and get people like all riled up and pumped up, and it has no place in sports. There is no way in sports to have a purely winning culture. It just goes against everything. And Inter Miami does not and is not building a winning culture. I'll be the first one to tell you that. What we are building is the Inter Miami culture, and that takes time. Just like the Heat. The Heat did not have a culture. Pat Riley came in, and after years of stability, culture is built. And that culture has been very successful. The team has won championships. They've made the playoffs. They're constantly in the conversation, and they've been able to attract and keep one of the best coaches in the world in basketball. But Miami, this team is only a couple years old. Like we have to give this team time to build Inner Miami culture. Winning culture is a clickbait word. There is no such thing as winning culture because there's no team that thinks every move is like 100% about winning. Because I hate to tell you this, but youth development is not part of a winning culture. You don't play youth players to develop and to get better if you're a winning culture. If you're a winning culture, you go out there and you play the best players you can, and that's only who you play. Inter Miami has proven that they're building an academy, they're putting guys through it, and they're building the Inter Miami way. And so, while I totally think the argument about a winning culture is asinine, I do think that Inter Miami is building a culture that we can all be proud of one day. The foundation is here, and Messi is part of that foundation. Having global superstars come into this team and not act like pricks and actually taking our youth under their wing and teaching. And we've heard stories about how Busquets is almost like a player coach on the field. Like that's important. And so while like we can go back and forth and you can argue all you want about winning culture, I will stay out of that because it's a bullshit term. But
So I have to say, first
that's
off,
my piece.
Herb Brooks would disagree with you, and I'm gonna let you.
Herb Brooks did not build a winning culture.
Yeah, he did.
Herb Brooks won one time
Yeah,
in the Olympics.
the only thing that mattered, he
That's
won the
not
gold
a winning
medal.
culture because
Well,
Herb Brooks was the coach when we didn't medal as well.
For
So it
those
was
who don't
not a
know, we're
winning
going back.
culture.
We're really stretching here. Herb Brooks was the coach of the 1980s Olympic hockey teams because I know like none of our listeners are going to know that one off the top of their heads. I had to Google it just to make sure. I think you're missing something though, Branton, which is we have to win this season. We are in an accelerated culture building scenario.
No,
we are.
No. Having to win this season is not part of the culture.
I think
culture is not something that you build in a season.
I think part of it is.
And the goal of this season is to win, but that's not the focus of your culture.
I think it is.
That's something completely different. You're combining two things that don't exist.
No, I think that
you
can
build
together.
your own culture and still aim to win.
I think we're gonna have to have Joker come in and like calm you and me down for some relationship mending after this conversation.
There is no need to mend relationships.
I just don't think. I think you have to have a winning first philosophy for this season.
That's not Inter Miami. That's not any team in MLS.
No, it has to be.
No team in MLS.
I think you have to this season. For this team, the way we're spending money, we have Messi for 2 years.
That's not your culture. That's your goal. A goal is very different than a culture.
The majority of our players are here for 2 years. Not all of them, but the majority. I know we're going to talk academy and things of that nature, but we are sacrificing everything to win the next 2 years. We are going to be that team that we win the next 2 years.
Culture.
Hopefully. I think it's tied to it. That's not
your culture.
I don't think you can ignore it.
It's not. Because Inter Miami could have a goal this year. They need to win silverware, but maybe their goal in 5 years or in 2 years, most likely, is to sell some of these young U22 players off to bigger clubs.
Well, but that's the problem.
They're building culture, but they can have short-term goals that say they're in win now mode.
But
that doesn't mean it's your culture.
And here's your thing that I commented this in one of my tweets was if after 2 years half your players leave because their contracts are up, and you sell a third of your players, You've got like 3 guys left to maintain the culture. And that's a problem. You can't maintain culture when you don't have carryover.
But the thing is, okay, so first of all, you've already said that Inter Miami is not building a winning culture. And then you've also said that we are building a winning culture.
Well,
You
I think
realize that, right?
we're doing a poor job at building a winning culture is my problem. Like we're
are
trying
not,
to build a
that's
winning
not
culture,
our
but we're
goal.
struggling at it.
But our goal, I don't think, is to build a winning culture. Our goal is to build an Inter Miami culture.
I'm not convinced that's true.
Our sole focus is not on winning. It's not. If it was, we wouldn't have done this stupid preseason tour.
Well, no, our sole focus
If
is
it
to make
was,
money.
we would have
Like,
already
let's
sold. We would have already sold Kremoski and Ruiz and guys like that, because I guarantee you there were offers.
But I think that's part of the problem of this here. I don't think any of us can accurately define what the goals of this club are right now. We can't. We're making decisions that on a day-to-day basis, and you and I
to
chat
make money,
all day long.
And it's to win.
Right.
They want to win trophies, but that doesn't mean that's the culture. Goals and
but the
culture
problem
are
is
different.
when your goal, and this is a corporate America thing, when your goal is purely to make money and win trophies, your culture is going to lag and be struggle. This is like a known thing. It's tough to do. Like say, hey, we're going out there. Our number 1 goal is to make money. Or number 2 goal is to get trophies. Number 3 goal is culture. Well, you know what? That lag, and that goes back to my post of we're not seeing the culture building and winning. We want to. At the end of the day,
But you can't.
Wait, hold on.
You're
Let me say one
not-
more thing. At the end of the day, if we were winning, none of us are having this conversation. Winning cures everything. If we had made playoffs last season and won a bunch of games, come into the preseason, won at least half these games, you and I are not having this conversation. We are happy. We're seeing it go through. The problem is this team is not winning. It has to change. And in 3 weeks from now, if we've won a bunch, we are going to forget this conversation. I'm going to hear I told you so from you, Danny, Alex, Mike V, and a whole lot of other people. But until we start winning, this is the conversation we're going to have because we're not winning. We see pieces of a culture being developed, but not consistent culture. And we see nothing but people trying to make money.
Okay. So, we do not build culture in 1 or 2 or 3 seasons. It's never going to build that quickly.
But
Next
dude,
point.
Hold on. To your point, and I agree with you, it's really hard to build a culture when your starting 11 this year has 1 player from the previous season starting 11. The lack of carryover is
your
incredibly
players
hard.
are not the ones that build the culture around the team.
The coach is brand new too.
The coach and the support staff is who builds the culture
But
around
the coach
the
is
team
brand new
over
too.
time.
And he's got new support staff.
But Henderson is not. Most of the staff behind the scenes is not. Those are people that have been here for a while.
Most of the team was.
I'm not talking about the coaching staff. The coaching staff is part of it.
We've rotated trainers, except for the one dude with the ponytail.
About this with
I like
you
him.
anymore.
He's a nice guy.
Because you just keep. You don't let me
I'll
get
stop.
my
I'll
point
stop.
in.
I'll stop.
You
I'll
won't.
be quiet.
The next topic.
I will. No, I'll be quiet. You suck. It's Valentine's Day. I'm gonna be good.
First one, we have already got it through. You can't build culture overnight. B, none of us know what kind of culture this team is building because there's no transparency. I am not in that locker room. You're not in that locker room. Michelle Kaufman is not in that locker room. We don't know what culture is being built. We get photos that leak out. We get interviews from from Tata, who is notorious for not telling the truth to us. And we once a year get to hear from Chris Henderson and the owners. And that's probably when we get a little bit of a snapshot into the actual culture of the team. We don't know what's happening. And so for us to sit here and for everyone to get all up in arms about the tweet about us being or trying to bring this all into a winning culture is bullshit. We don't know what's going on. We're all going to sit here and say, oh yeah, it's a winning culture. And yeah, we're not building it. We are building it. Whatever the fuck we're saying. We don't know. Culture in an organization is something that you don't know when it's being built. You don't know how it's being built. But once it's built, you know what it is. It's like that famous line about pornography. I don't know how to define it, but I know it when I see it, right? Like the Heat culture, nobody, when Pat Riley first started, nobody was like, oh, yeah, this guy's going to build a culture that's going to last us 20, 30 years. But he did it. And so we have to wait and see what the culture that's building it turns out to be. But the
Yeah.
signs are that it's a healthy culture for the players to be in.
See,
And
and
that can eventually lead to a winning mentality. But
so I shut up. I do want to say a couple things because I know we want to move on. Couple things. Joseph put this example of clubs with a club with culture, not so winning culture. Seattle, Columbus, Philadelphia, all top of the table teams with known cultures that they support each other. They put the team first. They
you
go out there to
probably
win.
put LAFC in there.
I was trying to think of LAFC. Kind of, it's they're a little more transient, but yeah, I think LAFC you can almost argue, ironically, has a winning culture. There's an expectation that you go out every game, win every match. I think the majority of top clubs in MLS have talked over and over about the locker room culture that persists. I think Pat Riley, when he came to Miami after his previous stops, had an expectation of winning. And so I think he brought a sense of culture with him. I think if you want to make the point that Messi came with certain cultural elements, I think that's true. I think where I get caught up on the arguments was I don't necessarily, to your point, think that's a winning culture. I think that is culture. And I do struggle that this culture will exist after Messi. And the one thing I'll kind of leave off on was I thought Yedlin, Calendar, they were building a culture on this team. We had an identity we were building under Phil Neville that we expected to kind of branch out. I do strongly believe, and I guess you're right, it's based on very little information, that we've revamped that culture. That with Messi, Boosie, Alba, now Suarez, they are bringing in their own culture. My belief is that once they leave, that culture is going to leave with them. That all the U22s are going to leave with them. We'll get into Redondo in a second. Redondo is going to leave with them. And we're going to be back to square one. And I do take umbrage, not offense. I won't take offense, but I take umbrage with this statement that they're going to build this culture that's going to last. We're building the Miami culture. I think we're going to go on a 2-year streak where we'll hopefully do things. And then we're going to reset again and go through another reset. And I don't think whatever culture we build here will last because I don't think anyone will still be here to carry the culture over. So I will kind of back away. And that's my final piece is I just don't think this lasts.
Well, and we'll see. We'll see what happens at that point when
And
that
there's going to be a lot of I
happens.
told you so's. People are going to come back to episode 11 in 2
Yeah, I
years,
don't think so.
3 years, be like, remember when that Mike guy said, okay, just for the record, if that does happen, I will go find episode 11. I'll listen. Hey, we need to get some clips from that episode because I can prove I was right 3 years ago.
Yeah, and I would love to listen to you and look at your board that you have behind you with all the yarn on it that says, "You see, this is where the culture went. It went here."
All right, so let's get into Redondo. So all
Yeah,
signs point to the fact that we
done
talked about this
deal.
last episode. How do you say it right?
Redondo.
Okay, I'm saying it right. All signs point to the fact that Farias is going to season-ending injury list. That we are, instead of going for kind of a striker forward, we're going to bring one of the top CDM candidates in the world, you CDM guys, to come and replace him. And my boy Branton, you want to go through the stats and why we're so excited?
Yeah, so basically why we're so excited, or at least I am, and I kind of had to explain this to Mike a little bit as to why I thought this was a necessary addition. Because if you listened to last episode, Mike was very anti this move, and I think as we've started to go through and kind of see what this player offers, I think he's kind of come around. But what we're seeing is a CDM who not only wins the ball quite often, right, and is able to win tackles, get interceptions, make blocks, win battles in the air, but we're also seeing one who passes and passes progressively. if you look at players like Gregory, um, or Mike's favorite, Dixon Arroyo, if you look at their stats, they're not progressive passers. Those are guys that will win you the ball, but they don't do anything progressive with it. They start passing it back to the CDM, or to the, I'm sorry, the center backs and out to the wings, which is not what you're really looking for. And I think what Redondo's going to do is kind of be able to bring in distribution from the back line to kind of free up Busquets, and I'm gonna guess probably like a combination of Ruiz or Kremoski playing possibly in that left midfield role, and he's gonna free them up to be a little more aggressive in the attack. And I think that with the progressive passing is also going to start coming some more goals, because I think one thing we all can agree on in this preseason was we did not see enough quality chances created, because the ball just wasn't getting to people unless it was Messi dribbling through a couple of people to get the ball up to Suarez, or Robbie Taylor kind of doing it on his own. So I think that this is going to be a great addition. He's also one of the highest rated prospects in the world. Teams like AC Milan, I think Liverpool is even, I know I saw him mentioned in Liverpool chats that I'm a part of, and I think our friend Gary even shared a breakdown that Manchester United podcast did to him, because they were so convinced that this was going to be a guy that they were in on. So really, really excited to have him. I think that this is going to be a big key into unlocking what we're trying to do with this. What I'm convinced is going to be a 4-4-2, a little bit closer to a 4-4-2 than a 4-3-3, as Tata mentioned. But Mike, are you feeling better about this move now? You don't like it? You're
I,
ready
I
to
s-
throw him into the sun? What's happening?
I'm still struggling on our roster moves because bringing him on, like, so first of all, let's start. I'm excited for him. Everything you said, I did the research. He looks like a great player. He looks exciting. I think we talk a lot of in this sport. You talk about like these up and coming transfers and how great they're going to be, and they peter out. He has so much pedigree behind him with his father that
His
he,
grandfather too.
yeah, like it should make a huge difference. I think what's interesting here is he's gonna he's gonna be a starter. He's gonna supplant someone on the pitch. Now, what where I'm kind of sitting is okay. The automatic assumption is he supplants Gregory. Uh, I've seen in kind of chat already. We also don't know what's where Busquets is. I've heard everything from he's done for 5 months to he's going to play against RSL, and so I do think thinking that this guy is going to kind of cover both those spots is exciting. I do think this means Gregory is not long for this team. I think it does feel like he's out the door. I Call me old fashioned. It bothers me that we let him sit out all last year. We re-signed him and then we ship him out. I get that that's the business, right? You want to sign him and don't want to lose anyone for free. I'm still not in love with the, and ironically, I think this is a culture negative move, but for winning, and as you said, for forward progression, I think this makes a lot of sense. Hey, listen, no, I'm agreeing with you. I don't get me
Culture
shaking your head.
negative.
I think this is this is a winning move. He's here for 2 years, right? We're going to keep him for 2. We're going to sign him for 3 to 4. We're going to keep him for 2, and we're going to
The
sell him on.
rumor is it's a 4-year contract.
Right. For rumors 4 years, but we're only keeping him 2 years, and we're selling him forward. Right. That's the goal. He'll be here through Messi. I think this might be the piece we've been missing. And so many people talk about how we need more center backs or issues defense. Anyone who listens to the show knows that I actually don't believe our issue is defense. I believe our issue is attacking. Someone who can progress the ball forward and can help the two-man back line essentially we're going to have, because our wing backs or our backs are going to play so far forward, I think is huge. So if he really is this guy that is projected, which I don't think we should doubt, he might be the missing piece. This might be the missing link to unlocking this whole team.
Yeah, I think you're right, and I think there's nothing but excitement for this move. Honestly, I mean, it's great that we're at a point where we can pull talent like this into our squad, and like you said, I'd be surprised if he's here more than 2 years. There's still those teams that were scouting him before are still going to be scouting him now, and
if he plays to the
we
level
have a
that
lot
we
of
want him to play, like the offers are going
Yeah.
to be real offers. Like this, I'm going to go out on a limb. He could be the highest transfer fee out of MLS 2 years from now. He could be the record breaker if he's the guy that, like, think about now. Liverpool wants him now. 2 years from now, he could be that guy. I don't want to jinx it, but he could be.
There's no reason to think that that's not a possibility. I mean, I think we're all kind of just waiting for what Almeida's going to go for out of Atlanta, to see what the new bar is going to be for the league record, because I think he breaks it. But we definitely could see Redondo
to tangent a little bit. Almeida, I thought would have gone sooner. The fact that he hasn't makes me question if they're getting the offers for him. Like, I'm a huge
I think
Almeida
Atlanta's
fan. I really am.
valuation for him is probably a little high.
I heard they want 20 million, but 20 million, I mean, I think the record right now is 12. So 20 million is basically just over breaking, and they're not getting it yet. So I do think Redondo could be that 20 million plus player if he plays to the level that we are expecting him to play. And to be fair, everyone's expecting him to play to. I just want Joseph Sierra, you're the man. I clearly knows about football.
Mike, we don't need him. We have a gentleman called Wataru Endo. We don't need him right now. So thanks.
Oh, different Mike. That's Mike V you're talking to.
Yeah. So moving on, because like we said, we have a lot of stuff to cover, so we don't want to get stuck on that. But super exciting. Hopefully that announcement comes tomorrow or the day after, makes that official. But some season ticket holder news. So I do not have any experience with this because the team has still not sent this to me. But and it's not just season ticket holders in this, if you have purchased tickets to an Inter Miami game, check your email because you may have gotten a survey.
And it's more than that, because I've gotten at 2 different email addresses. Mm-hmm. So I think I originally started contacting under one email address, and then I finished under another. So I've gotten the survey twice. Once I filled out, one I just kind of been holding on to. So let me go into this for everyone. So we're gonna go into season ticket holder news. Everyone knows Inter Miami is opening a new stadium, Miami Freedom Park, in a year and a half or so. So drove by it the other day. You can see it's progressing. So they sent out a survey trying to gauge future prices. And anyone who's ever done one of these surveys, it's super interesting. They gave you 8 5-option screens. Each screen had 5 different options, and you could choose which of these is interesting or choose none. And there was variations. There was where you're going to sit. Do we have a world-class player, i.e. is Messi on the team? I know for the tickets I was looking at, is food and drink included? I want to say there was one more, but and there was variations. And what's not good, I'm not going to say anything. What's not good is the prices are only going up. So to do the math, and I know we have certain listeners that love when I do math. My tickets 2 years ago was $130 game per seat. I sit on West Side. I got the food, 130 game. That's what I played pre-Messi. This year at renewal, I'm at $250 a seat. For non-renewal, for my same seats, it's currently $470 a seat. Now, the lowest version of my seats under this whole survey thing, which was free West Side, club level, free food and drink included. It's not free. It's never free. As I tell my son, it's never free. It's included. No Messi was $380 a game. Almost 3 times what I paid last season pre-Messi, and 50% more what I'm paying this season with Messi. And frankly, if you're a season ticket holder seeing this, you have to be saying WTF. And I think this is really a lot of people said after the whole I know we started the show after everyone got upset about the season ticket hikes. I think that's actually fair. One of the reasons we started the show is we wanted an
But
outlet.
I'm pretty sure your takes are very easy to find. I think
Yeah.
you were even on weren't you on Battered
No,
Parents?
I was supposed to be on Battered, and then something
Oh,
else happened, and it wasn't the news of the day anymore. But it, everyone's like, okay, we're getting the hikes now. This is the Miami Freedom Park hike inclusive. Based on this survey, and again, it's a survey. They could come out next week with a new survey and draw the prices. But the first pass of the survey implies there is another hike going to happen. And we're going to be paying for a stadium without Messi more than we pay with a stadium with Messi. And I'm going to be honest, I've been to Nashville's new stadium. I've been to LAFC's new stadium. I've been to Columbus's new stadium. They are amazing. But if you're telling me I have to pay 50% more for worse seats, I mean, so for worse players, there's no value here. And
yeah.
this isn't good. And like, I'm really hoping the club's getting not good. Like, I hope everyone who takes a survey is being really honest and saying, like, I'm not going to pay those prices. That's not what, like, when I took the survey of my 8 times doing of the 8 options, only twice did I say I'll take those tickets. Every other time was no option, no option, no option. Like, please be honest. Tell them what you're willing to do and won't do. Because if they start pricing like this, you're either going to be in or out. And I think we all saw with this past year. If you're out, you're out. And if you're in, you're stuck. So, and one more thing, Brant, I don't think we've covered this. Towards the end of it, there was like, would you pay for X amount of years with guaranteed minimal hike? So it's like, if you pay for 3 years, it's 5% guaranteed increase. But if you pay for 5 years, it's only 2% guaranteed increase. So they're also building in automatic inflation adjustment.
Jesus.
And if you think about, if you're a day one season ticket holder, our first, I think it was our second or third year, no increase, right? Like they
There's a
didn't increase.
decrease.
Oh, actually, they readjusted.
Yeah.
Actually, my seats went down. Like it's uncomfortable right now. Like it's really hard to look at this and go, they give a shit about the fans.
Well, I think the team's done enough to show that they really don't care. Um, how many years have we gotten the same shitty box with just different sad contents as our season ticket holder gift? Um, so I'm not surprised by this. I'm looking forward to maybe one day getting the survey so I can fill it out myself and you know
By the
see
way,
and answer Joe's question about the cheap seats. I would that's what I'm more interested in.
yeah, unfortunately, like I have to go with my comparisons because Joseph said the same thing. Like this isn't, I'm not the same level. I get it. Like I'm just giving the comparison, but every single person I've talked to that did the comparisons to their levels are saying the same thing. That there was more increases. There wasn't any like, okay, you already paid the hike, like it's going to even out. It was how much more money can we get for everyone?
Mhm.
And I know, Branton, you're going to call me a hypocrite because we all know if they charge me these prices, I'm going to keep coming. Now, will I keep on with
I
3
don't
seats? No, I may drop to 2.
I'm not going to call you a hypocrite for that because, like, at the end of the day, if they raise prices on me, I'm going to bitch and moan about it. But like this season, I debated heavily on renewing or not, but I decided, like, if I don't renew, I'll probably never get back in to having season tickets, and it's something I enjoy. So I just have to not eat or not feed my kids for a couple of days, and we figure it out.
By the
I'm
way, I want to go
joking,
off.
everybody, please.
Gamer Class just said, if you're listening today, tomorrow, season parking is on sale. If you want to get in the green lot or the blue lot, if you haven't heard from your rep, reach out to your rep ASAP. Obviously, if you watched the show previously, there are limited spaces. There's, I think, 700 spaces total.
Yeah.
They are, renewals happened 2 weeks ago. For anyone who's doing renewals, it's now, what you see is what you get. Call your rep, get in there. Otherwise, you're going to be in yellow lot, brown lot, orange lot, pink lot, purple lot. I don't know. I'm running out of lots here, but definitely get ahead of that. And just a
Yeah.
reminder, rocking my Green Lot Gang hat. Green Lot Gang will be, the Inter Miami show. Green Lot Gang, we will be there next week.
Next week.
We're going to set up tent. We don't know where we're going to be yet. We're either going to be right in front of the training center if we're allowed back there. Otherwise, we'll be parked next to Siege, kind of just next to the training center. But we'll have the flag held high for Greenlaw Gang. Branton, we need a flag. I just realized we don't have a flag for Inter Miami Show. We will get an Inter Miami Show flag as well and start hanging it
we
up there.
can get that. Put that sucker outside my house. Maybe not. I don't want you people to know where I live. Oh, but Joe, I promise you, if I get that survey, I will update you guys on what my seats look like. Because you and I frequently stand next to each other, so we need to know these things. We need to know where we're going to be.
I wonder. I wonder if we should eventually have like Mike brings people into the club. Like, is that should I just be that guy? Like,
no,
earn your chance.
Nobody wants that. No one wants that.
Joe wants it. Joe likes when he goes to the club with me.
I guarantee you, Joe would rather hang out with me in the North Stand than hang out with you.
Oh, this is gonna be a chat conversation in the morning. Okay, let's move on from here because this is where marriage conflicts start.
Oh, speaking of hate, so the haters are out there, guys. They're coming after us. ESPN's coming after us. Tom Bogert's firing shots today. For those of you guys who didn't see, and ESPN, I kind of agree with what they're saying. They listed like 5 MLS coaches that were on the hot seat, and guess who was on there? Tata Martino. I think he was number 4 on the list.
He's number 4.
Yeah, and so basically, if he doesn't win trophies, he's out. And I fully agree with that, especially after the performance he had at the end of last season and what's transpired already in the preseason that's got Mike ready to jump off the West Stand.
So I think this was interesting. Let's talk about the first thing, which was the ESPN article came out today with the 4 coaches.
I didn't say what the other one was yet. So
yeah, I think it was interesting. I got distracted by Joe saying that his parents are fighting.
His dads are fighting again.
We're in like an Inter Miami bubble, right? Like, so we hear all the hate for Tata Martino, and I thought this was inside the bubble. And like, if you left the bubble, everyone would be like, "No, Tata's doing great." Like DeAndre Yedlin. It's really funny. I don't know if you ever noticed it, but inside the bubble, there's a ton of hate for him. You leave the bubble, he's considered still one of the top right backs in all of Major League Soccer, and any team would be lucky to have him. Like, listen to any podcast, listen to Tom Bogert. They all highlight, DeAndre. So that's how I kind of thought Tata was the same way, that really people liked him, and it was in the bubble he was struggling. To see that article today actually kind of popped the bubble for me, because I'm like, oh, it's not just us. He really is in trouble. And somewhat, to me, gave validation that people did watch the preseason and they took notice of it. Are they panicked? Is he being fired today? He's not. Hey, hold on. Let me finish. He's not. But they took notice of it. And that he's got to turn the ship around. It's not sinking yet, but he's got to turn the ship around because he is starting to get in the warm seat.
So maybe I missed it, but I really didn't see anything where they mentioned the performance in the preseason.
He did. It was on the very top of this article. It mentioned
they mentioned the tour.
Yeah,
they did not say that his performance in the preseason would result in his firing.
No, I'm not saying that.
So
hold on, don't put words in my mouth.
Considered.
I'm saying
you said they took notice of that, and that's what triggered this article. And I don't.
I think it's a part of it. It's there's no one thing that triggered this article. I think it's the end of last season.
I think there's 2 things. ESPN is a failing company, and they're trying to get Inter Miami's name into an article to generate clicks. Because the main part of that article was just saying, like, if he doesn't win trophies, like, he's going to get fired. And it's true. And that would be true whether it was Pep Guardiola here or Klopp or whoever.
Hold on.
That's true.
I don't think. Okay, I don't think it's that true. When you have a coach that hasn't been
If you have the best player of a generation and you don't win trophies, your ass is getting fired.
If he had made the playoffs last season and had a successful preseason, this article isn't written. He's not listed.
I don't think that's true.
I absolutely think it's true. If they could say Tata won Leagues Cup and led Miami to the playoffs. You can't say he's on the hot seat at all.
I think you
No,
absolutely can. You
no,
absolutely can. If you're ESPN, you absolutely can.
totally
For
disagree.
two reasons: to get to get Inter Miami's name in there, so you get the clicks, and two, because it's true. Because then you're saying he won all this last year. We brought in Suarez, we brought in Redondo, and now he needs to win even more. And if he doesn't, he's on the hot seat. You could
No,
absolutely say that.
but you're okay. But you're saying he would be on the hot seat. This article was titled
Yeah,
"On the Hot Seat," so it's implying he's
yeah,
already on the hot seat, and that is because of his losing record at the end of last season.
right. And it's also because he's a shit coach.
Okay, move on to the next thing.
That's what it is.
No, he didn't
It
win.
absolutely is. Hold on. You're telling me Tata Martino is a good coach?
No, I completely agree. He's a shit coach, but I'm not saying that's why he's on the hot seat. I'm saying he's on the hot seat because he didn't win last season. And my boy Sean
And
here
he
is
did
agreeing
not
with me.
win because he's a shit coach.
Well, that's true. They go together, but just I'm saying he didn't win. You can't just say he's a shit coach so he doesn't go to he's on the hot seat. He's a shit coach because he hasn't won, and now he's on the
No,
hot seat.
he's a shit coach, and that's what led to him
Can
getting
we
on the
go to
hot
the
seat.
other article, please?
So the next article is from Tom Bogert, and again, Mike's getting ready to jump off the West Stand here.
I'm not.
Sources across the league say the club desperately needs to shed salary and GAM. Sources say Gregory, John Mata, DeAndre Yedlin, Robert Taylor, and Sergey are available. They are screwed, said one rival executive. Trust me.
Listen, this isn't a surprise. We talked about this 3 episodes ago that we are in
No.
far worse scam trouble than people want to talk about. I'm not surprised. All the names on this list are backups now. I think the only thing this brings up is everyone has said how great our depth is this year. By roster signing day, roster locking day, by Wednesday at 4:00,
Yeah.
our depth is going to be a lot worse. And there's just no way around it. We've put all of our money into our starting 11. We're going to rely on the kids, and that's just the way
I
it
don't
is going
think
to
you
be.
can say it's a lot worse. At most, I'm gonna guess that we lose 3 players before roster deadline.
Yeah, but the
My
three play.
my
Okay.
fingers 3 is 3. I think one of those is Coco Jean. Didn't do shit. Got injured. Not his fault. When we did see him on the field, at times he was the best looking attacker when he was on the field, but turf took him out. And then you're looking at a guy like Yedlin moving on. We have Gressel, still a little thin at the right back, but whatever. And probably Gregory on his way out, or Mota, who was probably a little more attractive, a little more productive. Also has his green card now, so could move within the league. So while I think it sucks to not have those guys because you want to be a league where you can be 3 deep at every position, but it's just not the reality in MLS. So I think those
I
guys end
think
up
I
going.
think you're missing a name.
Who?
Taylor. He's the most attractive guy on our squad.
Yeah,
I think Taylor's the number one. I think if you're an MLS squad looking at
I
Miami going,
think
they have to
Yedlin is
sell.
probably number one from
No,
an MLS squad. Yeah,
yeah. I could see the argument because there's so
Robbie's
few
probably
decent.
2. I'd give you that.
Yeah, Yedlin,
Yeah,
I could see the argument because right back and left back are really tough positions. So if you can get a senior
and he
right
knows the
back who can
league.
play,
It'd be a
yeah.
plug and play type thing.
But
So
but the difference is Yedlin's at 600K. Taylor, I want to say is at 250, 300. He's a much
something
cheaper
like that.
contract. So
Yeah,
I
but
think Taylor's another Morgan, except instead of getting $1 million in GAM, we're gonna get like 100K in GAM because any team's gonna come to us and say, you have no
so
choice. Like
I don't
you gotta take the
think
shitty deal.
I don't think it would be that extreme.
It's gonna be bad.
I think if somebody said I'll give you $100,000 in GAM for Robbie Taylor, I think Henderson calls up some other because I get there's other transfer windows open. I bet you he calls somebody up and he goes, "Hey, give me 150."
Fair. Okay, but you're
So
talking that
there's a little
Wednesday.
bit of leverage there, but and obviously we're being facetious with that number. We don't know what the numbers would be. But I like Robbie Taylor. I like what he does. Everybody knows the whole preseason I've been clamoring for him to get on the field, but I don't know that we miss him too much in this new formation because I don't know that there's a ton of places for him to play.
I don't think we miss him Wednesday night against RSL. I think as we get deeper into the season
Oh yeah,
and you're missing Messi and you're missing Gomez and these other guys are going on international
you have
duty,
Sunderland.
that doesn't make me feel better. Like I just think, and I know Robbie does a lot of international duty too. You can't ignore that, which actually might be almost a good thing. But like
Yeah,
you're going to miss some of these players. So I do think I can see the argument. Yedlin and Robbie are my number 1 and 2 on the like going to be traded. Gregory's 3. Actually, Gregory's
Sergey could
probably
be
4.
3.
I go Gregory's 4. Mota's probably 3 with his green card now because that means he's not an international slot, so he's very attractive as now.
I could see
But
Sergey on I could see FC Cincinnati or
yeah, but
like
remember,
Nashville making a run for him.
I do, but he needs an international spot. I don't think he has a green card,
Yeah, but
so
there's a
that
lot of
makes him
teams
more
that don't
expensive.
even use those. So, like Nashville, I guarantee you has some. They sell them off every year.
Yeah, but remember, we are 6 days left. Remember, so for everyone to know, because of the schedule, because we're starting 2 days, us and RSL are starting 2 days sooner than everyone else, we actually have to be roster compliant 2 days earlier than everyone else. So we have a shorter window. So again, not only are we in massive need to cut players in GAM, we have the shortest window to do so, which unfortunately makes us desperate at some point. And so that is going to be a challenge. So I think
Oh,
you're going to see one of these trades that just everyone's going to hate, but you have, it's kind of like the Lewis Morgan trade a couple of years ago where you had no choice. You just had to take a trade, except it didn't hurt that bad because the
but
number
that
was
was a
pretty
good
high.
trade. Yeah.
The number is pretty high, but we're like, this is going to be that same reaction, except the number is going to be a lot worse.
Well, and the other thing, like in there's roster experts out there who could probably tell us what would happen, but and you and I kind of had this conversation before we started recording is what would happen if we're not in compliance by then and we just don't register 2 of these guys?
I don't know
What
because it's this,
happens?
the
Because we
salary,
kind of did that with Pellegrini and we didn't get in trouble for
but
that. Like it was a shit move, but we didn't get in trouble and we eventually moved him on. So I don't know how that works. I don't know if maybe you move. I don't know if you can hide some of these guys at Inter Miami CF2.
I don't think so. I
Maybe I
think,
don't know.
remember, there's limits
It's
to how
so
many players,
confusing.
there's limits to how many players you can buy out. So remember, Pellegrini was
You only
also a
buy out
DP,
one.
right? And Pellegrini was a DP, so I think that made him almost
That's why we didn't
more
register him.
unregistered. Like you could play that game.
Yeah.
I think with these regular guys, it's harder to do. I don't know. Like Tom Boger, I actually responded to his text asking, like, hey, what happens? I'm going to kind of call him out a couple more times this week. Like, hey, can you explain what'll happen? Because I don't know. And the problem with, and we go back all the way back to something you said in the opening of the show, MLS is so untransparent. I don't think anybody really know. The majority of people following MLS do not know what happens if you're not roster compliant.
Sean's comment would make sense.
We could
Well,
what's
not
the
that one.
team?
I had it up already. This
Oh,
one. There might be a waiver system. I don't know.
yeah, like I don't know. Or that might be, and actually, to be fair, if we can just throw them on waivers, hey, we lose the money, but at least we're compliant. You know, when we're spending $8 million on fees for Redondo, who cares if we lose a $200,000 guy? The math just works in our favor.
If it's a $200,000 guy, we'll
But yeah,
see.
but we're not going to get
Joe, I
much.
think you're 100% right here, man.
Yeah, it might be that. And
The F honestly, Football Manager is how I learned most of
and by the
MLS's
way,
rules
just
'cause
remember,
it's
this
so
is where we go
intricate.
into MLS is a single entity. MLS owns all of the players, so technically, that concept where we're saying actually makes quite a bit of sense.
Yeah.
So, but again, we're losing out of some GAM and transfer fees. So maybe we do waive. We waive Gregory. We waive Mota. We waive the 3 guys. It sucks, and we don't get some transfer fee for it. But if it gets us roster compliant and gets us moving forward, it's probably not the
And my
end of the
thing would be
world.
too, like, I don't want a Pellegrini situation where the poor guy just sat here for 6 months. I'd
No.
rather them go and play somewhere
Yeah,
because
of course.
everybody on that list is somebody who's put in a turn for this club and done really good. So
The most important thing here is, and I'm going to circle back to what I said, we can't be in 2 years under sanctions again. We cannot be back to that spot.
I don't. But see, the thing is like I don't see that happening for a couple of reasons. First off, Chris Henderson would never let that happen. Never. He would. We got in trouble with the sanctions because we tried to hide shit.
Right.
Chris Henderson is the type of guy, and you know this if you've even talked to him for 5 minutes, like we have. He's the type of guy who's like, "Hey, MLS, we're in trouble here," and I guarantee you, he's probably already like kind of raised the flag with MLS and been like,
Oh, yeah.
"Hey,
And
we might have a situation here. What are our options?"
which is why I
And
think
when you act with integrity, I don't think you're going to
which is
get
why I think he's calling all
killed.
of his buddies. He's calling New York Red Bulls. Hey,
Yeah.
you want a
Who do you
striker
want?
in Taylor? 200K. Easy deal. I'll one
Yeah.
international slot. We'll trade Robbie Taylor for an international slot. Let's go. So this is where I go back to. I think we're just going to see deals we don't like, one way or another.
Yeah, but I also think it's going to be deals for players that are either redundant or we just don't need. So, it's going to hurt
It's going
to
to
see
hurt.
Robbie Taylor go, but if he goes to a better situation where he's going to play all the time, good for him.
Speaking of which, if you really have wanted a Robbie Taylor, Kamal Miller jersey signed, go to Fanatics. Fanatics has like 5 game worn heartbeat kit IMCF jerseys. And I think it's Miller, Taylor, Martinez.
What are those going for? 600 a pop?
No, not Martinez is the worst at $499. Kamal's at I think $199. Sailor's not there. Honestly, between you and me, I would have picked up the Sailor one. Like we would have, you and I have
I
a mutual
hate that you
friend.
just announced this on the podcast and you didn't tell me about this because I would have gone on and ordered one of them before someone
Well,
gets to it.
I mean, you can. I did
I'm
tell
gonna
you
try.
this,
I'm gonna go do that right now.
but no, they don't have a Sailor. That's what I'm saying. There's no
No,
Sailor.
no. I'm not talking about Sailor. There's somebody else I want. But
Right,
anyway,
well,
moving on before Mike gives away all my. No, I'm just kidding. If you're listening, please go buy the jerseys. It's cool to have them. Or just wait in the parking lot and pray to God somebody forgets their keys and can't get into the gate and walks by you.
there's a
But
couple other names. Now I'm not naming the rest of the names, but there's a couple of them for sale. They're reasonably priced. They're supposed
all
to be
right,
game worn. They are pre-Messi jerseys, so they don't have the fract on the side. They don't even have it's
love
kind
it.
of before. So the Martinez one is interesting because it's like a giant signature. I got it in front of me. But yeah,
That's
so
what I went
definitely
for.
worth. Yeah.
So
What's
anyway,
for Martinez?
moving on. We do have a game tomorrow.
Do we?
It's kind of a cool one. Yeah, we do. We do, and we got some pictures just to demonstrate how important this game is. If you don't recognize this youth team, dead center in the top right picture, that's a young Leo Messi. Obviously, Newell is his boyhood club. Those who don't know, Tata actually played and coached there as well. Those are both Tata. Same terrible haircut that he still has now.
Have you heard the rumor that Messi's gonna play for
I
Newell at some point in this
did.
match?
I did, and part of me is like, "Oh God, I hope he doesn't get injured." But part of me is like, "That would be pretty cool." I like that.
Could you imagine?
I'm a sucker for stories like that, man. So,
Could you imagine if Suarez takes him out?
oh no, I saw somebody who
I
was like
don't say the one.
speculating,
No,
like,
Don Cafecito said something that do not say what
no,
Don
no, no.
Cafecito left.
I saw somebody else say that like they better not tell the outgoing players that they're on the block because
Oh,
one of
jeez.
those guys could be the one that takes him out.
Listen,
But I think it's a cool story. I'm a little bummed that I'm not going to be there.
I'm still like I'm praying. So my son has practice tomorrow till 7:30. So I'm kind of been praying it's going to get canceled for some reason, and I can get tickets last second.
Yeah.
I think I just want to say it's an exhibition game. I'm not expecting anyone to take it seriously. Like screw the whole winning culture concept. Like it's these. I think that's gonna be out there to have fun. I don't expect a lot of serious. I will say this, and you and I have discussed this. I expect our starters to start. I expect us to come out. We're a week away. Like I think we'll see a 4-3-3 or some 4-2-2-1-2 or some crazy thing. Like it'll look like we're gonna show up against RSL. We'll get the starters out there, and then 45 minutes later, the starters coming off, and then at 80 minutes, Messi will come back on in a different kit. Crowd will go
Yeah.
wild. But I just don't think we're gonna take this at all seriously.
No.
And frankly, I am absolutely okay with that.
Yeah, and I don't think Newell's is gonna take it seriously either. I think it's just for fun. Because their season already started. They've already played 5 games. They're second in their league. Just lost their first game, and then they have to play again on the 19th. So they're not bringing like an intensity here. I don't think. They're not going for the win. I think it's just it's a cool story. And I'm sure they're getting paid handsomely for this. Um, but if you want tickets, tickets are still available, face value. Um,
And
I
that's the one
even
thing I was
checked
gonna.
if you use Game Time and things like that. Game Time had some pretty good deals on there, so
I,
check
I
that
will.
out.
I will say one thing, which is I clearly think similar to the NYFC Noche Bueno game or whatever it was. This game shows the fans are kind of annoyed. It had this game should be sold out. Every Argentinian in the world in the South Florida area should be begging to come here. It's Messi versus Newell. It's the boyhood club. It's so exciting. Here's the chance, and it didn't happen. And I just think it's kind of showing again the club has hit the point of maximum return, and they're kind of on the downswing, and we'll see what happens. I will add to that, everyone I know that has tickets up for RSL are not being able to sell their tickets. So clearly resale is struggling at the moment. I see you laughing. I don't even know why you're laughing, but
Because you called, what was it? It was Noche de Or, and you called it Noche Buena or
yeah,
something.
Noche, and it's a Noche something.
That's Christmas Eve
I
for
know, who
Spanish
cares?
speaking folks.
Listen, do you not think the club would call a game Noche Bueno if it made sense? They've just stolen ideas for anything.
That might be
So
the next kit, the
yeah,
replacement for the black one.
Noche Bueno. But I just think
Oh,
you are seeing the club has hit that point where it can't go much farther, at least at the moment. Now we
yeah.
start winning, we win CCC, and it's all going to go up.
Yeah, absolutely. And, it's just going to be a fun game, and I'm looking forward to seeing it.
And it's on Apple
Uh,
TV, right? Like I'm going to watch it at
I
home.
think so.
Yeah,
I think it
I'm looking
is.
for.
I'm going to
I'm
watch
legit
it.
looking forward to watching. Like if my wife and I screwed up, like I was expecting to just kind of spring on her today that hey, I'm going to go to the game tomorrow night. I'm just going to buy tickets. She sprung something on me first that she booked an appointment for tomorrow night, and she's like, "Hey, you got to get TJ." I'm like, "Damn it, you got me." So I'm not going yet. But I honestly,
Yeah.
if I was free tomorrow night, I'd go because I just kind of miss going. I'm
Yeah.
excited to get the
Same.
season going again.
Same. And like I said, I'm a sucker for storyline, so it'd be kind of cool to see. But before we wrap things up, just have one more cool thing to really talk about before we get into like fan questions and stuff. And our that's never not going to be funny to me.
Guys, I am from
I
New
think he should
Jersey.
get that on the back of his kit.
I am
Noche
I have
buena,
many years of high school Spanish and I've never learned to speak the language.
dude.
I went to Barcelona and like got destroyed trying to speak Spanish. This is not my language. I do my best.
Joe, I think we have a new nickname for him.
Noche bueno. You know, of all my nicknames I've earned, that's the least offensive, and I can live with that.
Ooh,
Man,
yeah, I love it.
I should have put that on my siege kit.
You should.
Oh, Joe surprised me with a Noche bueno kit.
Anyway, something really cool that MLS is doing is they're trying to do initiatives to be more inclusive and like highlight supporters groups and sections that are doing like good things in the community, doing good things for the game of soccer. And our very own Black Herons United and Jermaine, uh, if you don't know Jermaine, you got to meet him at the tailgates. Great dude, has done a lot for weight raising awareness for Black supporters groups in general, but very much so here. So Black Herons was featured. Jermaine gave a really good interview. They did a nice write up, and it's we've talked about Black Herons before. It's a great cause. It's a great group to be a part of. The Auntie Mary's Punch, the Jamaican beef patties, the vibes that they put out is awesome, and it's great to be a part of. And just they just do great work, and it's awesome to see a local Inter Miami supporters group getting recognized by MLS for the good that they're doing, not just in our community, but inspiring other communities as well.
No, I couldn't be happier for Jermaine. For those who don't know, beginning of last season, I helped start the Greenlock Gang. Greenlock Gang, Siege, and Black Herons United decided to do joint tailgates all last season. It was a blast. We created one large group. And also don't know, Black Herons United have just worked so hard to get representation in the North Stand. They really go out of their way. And Jermaine and others have helped lead that. So I was so happy for him to see it. Definitely, kind of going back to what I said earlier, come to the Green Lot next Wednesday. There will be a huge joint tailgate. Come meet Black Herons United. They will have their Aunt Mary's Punch. They've got that new kit that's just absolutely smoking that they brought out earlier this year. Siege is going to be out there, so just throw it out there. Both Branton and I are Siege members. Everyone's going to be out there. The vibes are going to be going, and it's great
Members
because
of all three groups there, by the way.
Yeah, it's just such it's the you talk about culture and how you can just bring culture together. All three groups bring something different to the crowd. I look at Greenlock Gang as not really an SG, but more as a season ticket holder group. You got Siege, which is a legitimate SG, and then Black Herons United, which is an SG and cultural group. So they each bring something to that tailgate, and then they all go. Well, at least Siege and BHU go into the North Stand together. GLG is kind of more spread out because we're kind of again more the STH group.
Most of us are in the North Stand. There's one.
No, Doug's not in North Stand. Joe's not in North Stand. Jason's
Joe's
not in North
Stand quite a bit.
Claire's not in North Stand. I'm just going to start naming names. But no, I think it's awesome. And please, and that's where Inter Miami Show is going to post up there too. And when we start doing, I don't think we're going to do a live show Wednesday night because frankly
we are not.
Night, but
won't.
Once we get into the weekend
telling
games,
you now.
I was trying to just kind of put a little element of excitement, suspense.
No, I don't want people to get their hopes up and get disappointed, but because we just don't have the time to throw that together for Wednesday. And then it being in the middle of the week is just not conducive to that. But we will be going live early in the season from the Greenlaw Gang. You heard it here multiple times. It's going to happen, and that's where we'll be. So if you want to, swing by and, whether it's us doing interviews or whether it's us just putting a camera up and letting people who aren't local be part of the vibes, come and join. And, Black Herons is a big part of that. So come on over and have fun and just enjoy. So we're gonna open it up now. I know we're running a little bit long, but I know you guys probably have some awesome questions. So please in the chat, hit us up.
I did see a question earlier as people give a chance. What do we think about the RSL game? Guys, we're going to do a show early next week to get into the RSL game. We'll do an actual breakdown of their kind of off-season moves. I think anyone coming into this season thinking about last season is going to be grossly mistaken. Teams got serious this season. There was a lot of DP signings. I know there was a joke earlier about those teams that, they have two empty DP spots they're not going to use. Those teams still exist, but they're few and far between. We saw a lot of what would have been record signings this year, multi-$10 million plus signings. So we'll get into the RSL team next game, early next week, whether it be Monday night or Tuesday night.
Yeah, and I think we have it'll be fun to talk about. It's going to be exciting to actually preview a game that matters, that we care about, because preseason we don't care.
Joe, business news. What is business news?
I think he's asking if you got any stock tips or anything after you.
I did not get any new gear. There was no new show clothes for this show. Sorry. They did introduce some new hats, but nothing so exciting yet. We are working on an Inter Miami Show hat, but we're not there yet. Branton didn't do his job this week of coming up with a new logo.
I just think our logo is so great, and I just don't want to screw it up. So it's a big
Joe putting up Boosie Joe putting up Boosie as a question. So this is an interesting question because no one has an answer
no,
here.
that's what he was asking. Not business news, Boosie news.
Boosie news, but it says business. Like,
I know
just so we can all
autocorrect
see,
is a hell
like
of a
it
thing.
said business news.
No, but I think that's yeah.
So no one seems to know what's up with Boosie. Like I said, I heard one person say 5 months. Michelle, I think it was Michelle said Michelle or Alex said he can't play tomorrow, but he could play against RSL.
That's what Tata said. They were holding him out tomorrow for sure for the home opener.
You know what's amazing? You look at the NFL. The NFL requires you to be honest, right? Like it is a huge thing if you're lying about. And I know everyone they try to cover it a little bit. Like I think Tom Brady was on the report every single game for every single season he ever played. But at least there's an element of trying to be honest. We're so far off the rails on this. But no one knows. No one knows. I am praying he's playing. Like I'm praying he got up under his own power. He walked off.
Yeah.
I feel like if it was a major injury, it would have come out pretty quickly, but nothing there. All right, man. Gamer class. When is the third kit dropping? I'd go with sometime early summer, late spring.
I think I've heard May, June. Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of historically when they've done it. I'm thinking about when the Atlanta United their hip hop.
That was late this season, wasn't it?
I thought it was early summer. I thought it was before Leagues Cup, but maybe it was after.
Yeah. All right. Who knows? I mean, hopefully it's midsummer. Let's spread these jerseys out a little bit so the pocket doesn't hurt as much.
Joker's causing trouble with this question because you and I both know he's pissed about this. When is preseason party and meet and greet? So not this weekend, clearly, because at least it's Wednesday night. We haven't heard about it yet. I'm going to throw this out there. I don't know how the heck they do this. Like when you had 5,000 to 10,000 season ticket holders, you could do these kind of events. When you have 23,000 season ticket holders in a stadium built for 23,000 people, to be fair, a stadium built for 18,000 people, how you put us all in there and say, go run for autographs and stuff. I actually don't think logistically this is possible. This is just Mike speaking. Like, I know that they promised us it. I'm just questioning how you could do this safely.
Well, and so, like, I mean, again, like, my thought would be they would probably want to do this if they're going to do it mid-season now, because it can't happen now. Before the season is they would have to do it like during an international window, which we know MLS does not recognize many of them, but has aligned the schedule a little bit to cover a couple of them this year. I think they would do it then, and then obviously Messi won't be here. Any of the other big players will probably be called up for international duty.
But
Suarez is still playing.
But Busquets and Alba aren't.
Yeah,
they both retired for international duty.
But let's be honest here. How many people? Most of the season ticket holders are there to see Messi.
That's true. I mean, I want the Busquets and Alba autographs.
Yeah, but and so do I, and I think a lot of people still do. But I think once you take Messi off the table, I think that number drops quite a bit. Then you also have to think like the suites. Like most of the people who own the suites, they're not going to every game. They're not going to go to this.
Thousands of people.
Yeah, but then there's also a lot of people who are not interested in meeting the players. Like there are people out there that are interested in that.
People that don't want autographs. I know exists.
Joker is one of them.
Okay, Joker says that, but he's going for his nephew, and we know his nephew is also named Joker. No, I do get that, but you're still talking a massive amount of people versus years prior.
But I think once you announce Messi, you go down to like 10,000 people immediately. Messi off the board, you probably go down to
10,000 people in the grandstand.
You might also see it spill out to like green lot, blue lot, and the community fields, and like maybe they have players like spread out around them like that.
But now here's what you're talking about: huge event with lots of security, and the team's making no money on it, except for possibly concessions. So I think it's almost in the teams. There was a lot of fine print around what they could and couldn't do. I almost would make an argument it's the team's best interest to say, screw it, fuck us, and they're not going to give it to us. But that's just me being pessimistic.
I mean, it's also probably in their best interest to do something, but there doesn't have to be an event. It could just be a meet and greet that
Maybe.
requires very minimal staff outside of security. You're not going to have the security presence that you originally needed because Messi won't be there.
But
Because there's no
you
way in
can't
hell that
put
Messi's going to be
you can't
there.
put 2,000 people in a line outside the stadium. Shit happens in South Florida, especially if
Yeah,
they're
but
not gone through the metal detectors yet.
there's not going to be that many people, I don't think.
Okay.
But
I don't know. I just
we'll
think
see.
that this is something that the club can't throw together over. Like, let me kind of circle back. You can't throw this together overnight. This has to be somewhat thought out. So to your point, and I fully align with it, I don't think we see it before the season. I think it has to be something at the end of the season, like mid-season, when they have time to think about this.
Yeah. Hopefully. I mean, but
Hey, hey, look who showed up, by the way.
hey,
So soccer,
that's
we're gonna
awesome.
let's throw this up there again. Like we
Yeah.
said at the beginning of the show, we'll say at the end of the show. By the way, man, it is okay. So it is 10:16
It's
here.
like
So it's
3
4 in the
a.m.
3
4
a.m.
a.m.
I see. I screwed up again.
Oh,
3 a.m. In England right now. Just a reminder again that we will be on Soccer Rummy Show at 3:30 Eastern Standard Time on Sunday, getting into the RSL game and starting to break down what it's going to be and how we think we're going to do.
Yeah. So definitely looking forward to it, and it's going to be a fun conversation. And like I said, you're going to get a unique take on North American soccer from the outside looking in. And so, uh, get out there, support him. Let's follow him. Let's get him some support so that way, more podcasts grow. We're getting new perspectives, and things are just better when the community's larger, in my opinion.
Yeah, super excited to go on the show. Like I said, I'm going to take it from the parking lot, my son's game, but we're going to make this work. I do have to comment Mike V's comment. Team is going to have to make you buy the
I'd do
players'
it.
jersey and sign. I've already got all Big Forest jerseys just to try to get signed. The only
I don't
jersey I
want
still want to, the only
No,
jersey I
go
still
ahead,
want to
go
buy
ahead.
that I don't have yet, is I need to know Allen's signature. Like I need that signed jersey, so I have to buy
I
one of
don't know
those
how
still.
you don't have that one.
I know because I was holding out hope I could get one off his back, but we're
Yeah.
fingers crossed.
Yeah. I just want a Campana. A Suarez, I'd die if I got a Suarez jersey, but signed, but I wouldn't hold my breath on it. Campana's a lot more realistic, and Drake and Yedlin, those are my three.
I've got two of those.
I know you do. One of which is right behind you, and the other is displayed prominently as you walk out your front door.
Well, I've got two.
I know
I
where
got
it
my two
is.
Drakes. Got my Yedlin downstairs. So, hey, I think we should probably start wrapping up. We are quite a bit
Yeah.
over where we wanted to go.
It was fun. You guys make it fun and make it easy for us to just kind of keep talking about shit. So, thank you guys for listening. As always, drop us a like on YouTube. Share the content with friends. We know there's a big community out there, and we're really grateful for everybody that's gotten us to where we are now. So just keep doing it so we can keep doing more fun things. The more followers and subscribers we get, um, the more Mike's wife lets him do fun stuff and buy more merch. So, we got to keep it going if you want more Mike fashion shows. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for listening. If you can get out to the Newell's game tomorrow, send us some pictures. We'll throw them up on our social media and post them out there. And just, we'll see you guys in the next one.